So the fact is, the older you get, the more you start thinking about your legacy. But legacy can take on many ways, shapes, or forms, and it doesn't necessarily have to apply to looking back, and also can apply to looking forward in the way that you're being today, and especially as a leader at all levels, not just a CEO, but even if you're just a worker bee. To go into this, and she's got a beautiful take on it, is Dr. Jann Freed, who is an author, an adjunct professor. She is a consultant in leadership. And well, Jann, I'm just going to hand it right over because you've got a great phrase for what people need to do to not only leave that legacy, but I'll say kind of live the legacy to your benefit today. Yes.
Yep. It's really living the legacy that you want to leave. And I've coined the phrase breadcrumb legacy. Now, I like to ask people, well, what is your legacy? Or when do you leave a legacy? And people will say, well, when you leave. And I'll say, well, when you leave what? And they'll say, well, when I leave my job, when I leave my career, when I leave the earth, when I die, And I'll say, well, what about when you leave this meeting? Or when I leave this, interview? I'm actually leaving some breadcrumbs with you today. So I say, legacy is really the interactions, the conversations, the behaviors, the memories that people remember about us when we leave. We leave the room, we leave the meeting, we leave for the day. So we're leaving our breadcrumb, we're leaving parts of our legacy on a daily basis. And so I maintain that if you're aware of the crumbs that you're leaving, if you're aware of the trail that you're leaving behind, you're more intentional about how you live your life forward.
So this really is a mindset and an approach to help you be better every day in every way, not just in this legacy later.
Absolutely. In fact, I liked how you said that, every day, every way. Because we're trying to live a life that matters, live a life that we want to live. And when we're aware of that, I was listening to an interview just yesterday with Ellen Langer. Ellen is a professor at Harvard, and she's very much the expert on mindfulness. Ellen Langer. And she said, all we have are moments. That's all we have. Life is made up of moments, and that's all we have. And so these moments are really breadcrumbs. So when she uses the word moment, I'm thinking breadcrumbs. Those are breadcrumbs. And so that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, you know what this reminds me of? Being a parent, because having, like you, raised two sons, and I realized over the years that there are those big moments and those big discussions, but it's the millions of little things, the little engagements, the ways that they see, you as a parent being, because I recognize that to my benefit, to their benefit sometimes. I also go, oh my gosh, you got that from me. That it all adds up to this legacy of me as a parent that affected them then and now and in the future, and it will affect what I hope someday will be grandchildren as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a very active moment-to-moment thing. So
yes.
how do we have that mindset?
Well, once again, I think it's an awareness. I'm writing a book on this, so my hope is people will buy the book and they'll learn about this. So how do we do this? To me, I think it does start off with awareness, because it really does make you much more intentional about what you say, how you say it, where you say it. And I think during these times, particularly for leaders in the workplace, if they're influencing the lives of others, how they say things and the decisions they make and how things are communicated, all of those take on, magnified meaning. And so I think really, again, it's awareness. To me, it's an aha, it's really, whoa, that's I hadn't looked at it like that before. And when I do workshops, that's what I hear from on the feedback, that it's this concept that really was the biggest takeaway, but yet biggest surprise.
And so, yeah, very good point. Then that yes, the older you get, the more you think about your legacy. You certainly think about the big moments, but it's also the little moments, because it really is. And we've heard it so often in terms of how someone's eulogized and everything,
Right.
that it's not so much the big accomplishments or the awards won, but just what type of person you were and what kind of impact you have. And you can funnel that all the way down to your effectiveness as a leader and an employee, a parent, or whatever.
Well, and I like to emphasize, because we never know when the end will come,
Mhm.
this is just as important for people at any age.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jann, really good points. And really kind of a simple, fundamental kind of thing to have in one's mind to just make sure you're at your best at any given moment or any given day. So
Right.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
More thoughts and insights from Jann on Pro Boomer. Stay tuned.